Welcome to the Profit Edge Sales Intelligence for Women in Business. We are so thrilled to have you here and ready to unlock new insights that could change the way you approach sales and communication. So, in this webinar, we have the honor to have certified leadership transformation coach and facilitator Esther Hephzibah. Leading us through these vital concepts. She will help us understand 4 key things: why understanding your sales profile is critical to success, how mismatched communication styles can cost you profits, practical strategies to bridge the gap and drive meaningful sales outcomes, and tools to help you identify and connect with your ideal clients more effectively. My name is Liz Manirakiza. I am the program coordinator for membership and community here at the Canadian Women's Chamber of Commerce, or CanWCC as we all call it for short. I live and work on the lands of the Tsuut'ina, Stoney Nakoda, and Blackfoot Nations, as well as the Métis Nations in the region covered by Treaty 7, colonial known as Calgary, Alberta. And the Canadian Women's Chamber of Commerce is the first and only Chamber of Commerce for diverse, women-identified, and non-binary business owners in Canada. And as a Chamber of Commerce, we represent your needs with the government, and our position as and title as a chamber gives us access to people who impact change. We exist to improve the quality of life for the over 1 million entrepreneurial Canadian women through advocacy with policymakers, and we aim to build a healthier and more inclusive Canadian economy. We are here to amplify the stories and the voices of diverse women and non-binary entrepreneurs with their economic equity. So now let me introduce you your host today, CanWCC member Esther Hephzibah. She is the founder and chief transformation catalyst of Shine Transformation Consulting Solutions, a personal growth and leadership firm dedicated to equipping women to live purpose-driven lives. And as a Maxwell Leadership Certified speaker, coach, and facilitator, Esther empowers women to awaken their true identity, break free from limitations, and rise into their full potential with passion and purpose. Her mission extends beyond individual empowerment to include equipping leaders with inclusive practices and emotional intelligence to lead strong, innovative, and growth-oriented teams. Through customized programs and services, including workshops like you are in today, retreats, and coaching, Esther provides tools for sustainable success without compromising well-being. She's an advocate for women and immigrants, and she uses experiences as an immigrant entrepreneur to mentor others in navigating the challenges of building a thriving life and business in Canada. She is passionate about fostering healing, growth, and community through her work as a visionary leader, content creator, and retreat facilitator. Esther, thank you for hosting today. We are so happy to have you. I will let you have the floor.
All right, can you all hear me? Yeah? All right, happy Thursday. Welcome. I would appreciate your grace today. I'm just healing from a flu, as you can possibly tell. But this is the world of entrepreneurship, right? Like the unexpected happens, you have to pivot, you have to find a way. So today I decided to take a morning nap and I feel much better. So grateful for that. And I'm happy to be here. Can't wait to share and to learn from you all today. So I'm going to share my screen right away. But while I'm doing that, I want you to share in the chat how you're doing today. On a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the lowest, 10 being the highest. And it's okay if you're feeling low today. That's okay. We have those days, right? I see 10. Okay, I'm trying to screen share. I think I need you to stop sharing, please. All right, Linda says 6. All right, keep it coming. 9, 7.8 today. Okay, thank you for sharing. You know what? I also say sometimes that you can run on a low level of awesomeness. So I always say that I'm feeling awesome, but some days I feel like I'm zero on awesomeness. All right, I can see my screen now. So thank you all for sharing how you're feeling today. Okay, so my screen should be up. Give me a thumbs up emoji if you can see my screen. Yeah, all right. So let's go. So today I'm going to be sharing with you what I've learned in my own business. And thank you so much, CAN WCC, for this opportunity to share, to add value. I believe that what I'll be sharing today would add so much value to you, to your business, and to all that you do. So today we're going to look at, what I call the profit edge, which again, for me, I've experienced in my business, and I always like to share with women entrepreneurs. And ultimately, at the end of today, if you live with anything, you want to make sure that you're able to embrace bigger profits in your business, either product-based or service-based. Are you all ready? Now, let's do some grounding. It takes less than 2 minutes. I want you all to just take 2 minutes. I love this quote by Henry Ward. Gratitude is the fairest blossom which springs from the soul. What is one thing you're particularly grateful for today? Even though life might feel crappy right now, but there's always something to be thankful for. So let's just take 1 minute. And if you want to share in the chat, that's okay. Look at the chats blowing up with gratitude. I find that when we start any event or experience with gratitude, it keeps us grounded. And so we can take out all that we can from the experience. So thank you all for sharing. Super grateful that I can show up today because I almost was like, am I going to cancel? But I'm grateful that I'm able to show up. All right, let's keep going. So I'm going to skip this slide because introduction has been done. But one thing that I know about the work that I do is that I love supporting women. I'm all in for anything women empowerment. And I'm super grateful again to CAN WCC for opening a platform like this for diverse women to share their voice. Thank you. So as a certified leadership coach and facilitator, these are the brands that I get the opportunity to work with and I'm grateful for. And these brands, all of these brands you see on the screen, I've actually experienced the sales profile tool that I'll be sharing with you today. Okay. Is my connection, okay, I'm seeing some notification that my connection is slow. Can you all hear me or my choppy? Great, okay. So I'm sharing this slide because I want you to have confidence in the credibility of this experience, of this insight, of this tool, because it's a tool that would help you to put this learning into action and transformation in your business. And all of these companies on the screen have invested in this tool. So just letting you know. All right, so I wanted to share in the chats. This is going to be very interactive, which helps me to rest my voice as well. What would make our time together valuable? So we have about 40 minutes together. Why is learning about sales important to you and your business? Maybe it's a challenge you're having. Or what is one expectation you have for this experience? What would you like to get out of today? Why are you investing an hour of your precious time to show up today? I'd like you to share in the chat. Okay, so to gain perspective, insights, perfect. Any more thoughts on why? I always like to start with why. Continuous learning is important with sales. Okay, so you want to become more aware. New techniques, awesome. Sales is the reason business exists. Absolutely. How to be strategic. We're looking to get 10,000 members so we can validate. I love that, Jenna. Absolutely. Sales is, I feel like sales is the oxygen of any business, right? It's the lifeline. Without sales, then why are we even having a business, right? So thank you for sharing. Hoping to learn some money management tool strategy, other ways to make sales easier and more confidence. I love it. Thank you for sharing. So I want you to remember your why you're joining, so that as we go through this journey, I'm taking you on a journey. I want you to begin to pick insights and actionable items that would help you move the needle forward and move you in the direction of your why. So you're actively participating. So thank you all already. I celebrate that. I love questions. If you have any questions, please feel free to pop them in the chat. And Liz will let me know in case I miss any question. And I love having fun as well. And then your action plan. You definitely don't want to leave here without an action plan. I love emojis. So if there's anything that resonates, please use the verbal, non-verbal reaction button, like to share your thoughts as well. All right. So in a nutshell, today, you're going to learn about how to interact with different communication styles when it comes to selling and buying. So again, sales is a two-way process, right? So how do you communicate from a place that takes the other person into consideration when it comes to communication? That means that you understand yourself and you understand others as you sell. So that's the objective. Now, my promise to you that you're going to be able to break through sales confidence blockers and barriers, and you're going to be able to boost your confidence so that you have a more solid sales strategy. So that's my promise to you at the end of today. And if you stay with me until the end, I'm going to give you a sample assessment report that you can begin to use right away, immediately implement in your business. So make sure that you stick with me to the end. Okay, now I want you to tell me, what does sale mean to you? I mean, it might sound like a very foundational question, like who doesn't know what sale? But let's get to it. What does it mean to you? When you hear the word sales, what does it mean for you? Okay, so an exchange of value. Love that word, value. Value is one of my best in my business. I talk about value all the time. So thank you for sharing that, Elizabeth. Providing service or thing in return for money, selling a solution. Guila, I love that as well. So solution, profit, success, transfer of enthusiasm, art of convincing someone to invest. Love that word, invest. Awesome. Okay, so I think you all have my notes already. So this is how I define sales based on my experience. I've been 5 years in business now. I see it as an exchange of value and transformation. So you're telling somebody, I hear you, I hear your problem, your challenge, and I have the solution and offer that would give you value and transform the way that you live your life, or maybe it's your health, whatever you're focusing on. And so it's an exchange. Another definition that I love, which helps those who are anxious about sales, because some people, when I started my business, I didn't like to sell. I felt like it was manipulating people, right? But when I reframed it, I feel like sales is people of value, which is you, that you hold so much value. And now you're adding that value to others with your experience, with your expertise or education, or a combination of all three E's. What do you think about that definition? So that's what I think sales is. It's you valuing yourself enough to know that you can add value to the world and you can add impact, and then you get profit because now there's an exchange of value. There's a ripple effect. Okay. Now, of course, I know that everybody would like to increase sales, conversion, and profitability. So let's get right to this. What challenges are you currently facing in achieving your sales goals? Let's get practical. So for example, maybe your goal for first quarter for 2025 was to get 20 more customers or to improve your products so that you can retain your clients, depending on if it's product or service based. Or maybe you have a $50,000 sales goals for the first quarter. The question is, what challenges or barriers are you facing that is preventing you from getting to where you want to be? Finding the clients I can clearly help. Okay. Jenna says sometimes it means sending them to voicemail. I get a lot of sales calls. I don't want to be like those corporate sales calls. Okay. What else? What challenge? True challenge is the business demands and time left to spend on focused sales. Okay. So sometimes, based on what Elizabeth is saying, it might be maybe you're looking for to get more support, maybe getting a team so that you can focus on what to bring you the most profits, right? That's what I'm hearing. Getting more customers, closing the sale. So Natasha, thank you for sharing that. Showing my value, finding clients without abrasive methods like cold DMs and cold emails. Awesome. Okay. So I hear you all. I understand these are valid challenges. So let's take a look at what the solution, let's begin to build the foundation of this solution. So now we've defined the problem, right? How we see sales, what the challenges are. Let's begin to build a solution. Let's move from problem to solution now. So we're going to start with definition of sales emotional intelligence. How many of you have heard this word before? So sales EQ is the ability of business owners, sales professionals to understand and manage emotions effectively. And what does this look like? Well, there was a research for those of you that love numbers, because some people prefer numbers, like Esther showed me the proof. Don't just tell me this. I want to see if there's a research. Well, has been a research by Harvard Business Review that sales professionals, including business owners, entrepreneurs that possess a high degree of emotional intelligence, actually close 15% greater than others. So for those of you who are struggling to close, well, this might be a clue for you to pay attention to. How are you doing in terms of emotional intelligence? Okay, now let's look at another study by an healthcare organization that salespeople trained in emotional intelligence sold 12% more than a control group. Yeah, 12% is quite a number depending on what your sales goals are. That's leaving money on the table, right? So how do you close more sales? How do you get more profit or more revenue when you have more emotional intelligence? And why is it important to business success? Well, let's take a look at this slide as well. Again, this is Harvard Business Review, so this is very credible. Emotional intelligence determines at least 75% of business success. How many of you have heard this before? So all the struggling to make sales, like if I focus on this, the bottom of this iceberg, I could actually get more success, like really, right? So you want to pay attention to EQ when it comes to sales. I'm just going to check the chat here if anybody has seen this before. Okay. All right. So now let's look at the gaps. As we look at the solution, the question now is, with all these insights you've gained so far, the question now is, so what are the gaps in my current sales strategy? Remember, you want to take note to have an action plan at the end, because if you leave here, it's like holding a mirror in front of your hand and you look at your face and there's some adjustment and you do nothing. well, you're not going to get any result or transformation. So I want you to begin to look at, maybe I'm not understanding my client. Maybe I don't have the right clients. Maybe I'm not connecting in a way that's effective. Maybe I don't understand sales emotional intelligence. Now, this is this sales cycle that I created based on the sales emotional intelligence framework. Now, this is my own business model, but I want you to look at this through the lens of your own business. When you call a client for the first time, or you connect at a networking event, or however you connect, maybe it's email, maybe it's on social media, the first thing after calling or connect, the first point of contact is connection. Because the higher the connection with their problem, and they feel like you understand and value that, the more they're able to bring out their wallet or their credit card, or it gets to them psychologically to buy. So from connection, they also gain clarity based on what you're sharing about your product or service. I call this the shine soul cycle because it's a continuous cycle. So the more connection, the more clarity, the more confidence they have in your products. Now, if you're just starting out, this might be a bit challenging, but guess what? It's possible. For those of you who are already established and have scaled, it is still the same process. How can you increase connection, clarity, confidence, and leads to conversion in your sales cycle? Now, this is where the rubber meets the road. This is where the reality is. Your sales profile is your superpower. So if you haven't heard the word sales profile, then you're in the right room today, because this is exactly the solution I'm bringing. Your sales profile is the psychology of selling. That is you understanding first yourself, your selling style, and the tendencies of your buyers or your clients. So the question is, do you even understand your selling strengths? Or do you even know what that means? Let me know in the chat. How many of you have heard of sales profile or sales strengths? Have you heard of that before, or is that something new? And there's no right or wrong answer, by the way. Okay, so I've never heard about it. Yay, good news, the happy dance. I love when people say I don't know about it, because then that's an opportunity to learn, right? And maybe to unlearn as well. Okay, so that's new, perfect. So let's go into what this is. At the core of strong sales strategy is understanding your sales profile, which is your superpower. What does that mean? It is awareness and understanding of different communication styles. So if you've heard of DISC before, or you've heard of personality insights, those are basic personality reports, assessments, but there's one that's very focused on communication when it comes to sales, and that's your sales profile. And I'm introducing to you what we call the Maxwell DISC method. It's called a sales profile style assessment, and this is what it does. It helps you discover your 4 different dimensions of human design. First, your selling style. So for example, Esther, my selling style is called a persuader, an influencer. So I'm good at encouraging and motivating. That's my natural wire selling style. And that's my primary communication style. And so for me to create an environment that's favorable for sales, I have to understand my own style and how I show up to different personalities. So a quick example, when I had to close a sale last year with a CEO of one of the companies I showed you earlier in the slide, I had to listen first, which is the sales cycle. I had to connect first, listen to the cue of his own communication style. And I found that he was more direct. He wanted things fast. He wanted facts and figures, which is typical of CEOs, right? They don't have time for rambling. Well, Esther is a rambler. That means I like to talk. And that's what I do. I love speaking, right? But what happens, I'm going to lose the sale and leave money on the table. If I go with my style, I need to learn to adapt my own primary style as a seller. And so I listened to what was needed. I summarized it in very simple. I didn't go on and on to how is your family. No. I went straight. If you get this is the result you want for your team. And guess what? Within 24 hours, we signed a $10,000 deal. Now, if I didn't understand, I'm going to go with my natural style, just rambling, talking, especially when you're selling to CEOs. If you're not a direct person, which is opposite of my style, and you start rambling, they don't know what you're talking. They don't have clarity, no connection. Hey, okay, I don't know. Maybe it's not important. So you want to create an environment that's favorable for sales. And so this assessment helps you with all of this. So this was the game changer for me when I started my business, because I'm like, oops, I am different from others and I can't take my own style into the market. Let me know what's resonating with you so far. And so with this tool, it helps you identify your selling strengths and the buying behaviors of your prospects. Again, it could be products or it could be service-based. Now, you might wonder, for products, how does that work? Well, if you're selling product, depending on your sales platform, on your platform, in your email, you could actually capture the 4 communication style. You could say, for those of you who tend to prefer, numbers or whatever you're selling, you might want to capture that so that they feel heard and valued and they feel like they connect with the value you're providing. Ultimately, you master the act of selling by learning how your sales style influences people's buying decisions. So let's go deeper into the profile sales assessment. The first step is your selling style, and then your customer buying style. We have 4 different types of buying styles. And then it gives you a table on how to increase sales with different customers. So then you can begin to structure and to plug in, you know what, this person most likely would be this. And even if you don't know their style, again, we're human beings and we're all having 4 different personality styles when it comes to buying and selling. Any questions so far? Okay. So I'm going to keep going. Now, every sale is an influential conversation. So whether you're direct or you are someone that likes to talk a lot, that means you speak more than you listen, or you are an external processor, we call them. Some people are more inward processors. That means they need time to process before they buy. So if you come in to rush them, they're going to feel like you want to manipulate them, like, hello, I don't want to buy now, right? So you speaking their communication language increases the influence of closing that sale. So when you recognize their personality style or the tendency, you can gain trust, because then you're not rushing them. You can tell them, this takes 4 days, or for the next 7 days, I'm going to give you time to think about this, and then I'm going to follow up. How does that sound? That is gaining trust. Now, for someone who is more direct, they might want to close the deal faster. Like, I only have 24 hours and I need to move on to something else. Well, then that's a different conversation. So really understanding all of these factors helps you to gain trust and helps you to offer your solution in a way that they would appreciate the most. And at the end, you're able to close up and follow up according to their buying style. Gulia says, I am a DC, so I tend to see the solution right away. So I'm curious, I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. Giulia, if I'm not, I apologize. So that means you're taking the assessment, because DC is one of the profiles. So if you see the solution right away, it means that you already know your selling style. So the question now is, how do you come across to a buyer depending on your product or your service? Okay. Now, what is the proof of this sales profile tool? Again, I'm sharing based on experience. I've used this tool in organizations that has increased their sales by $300,000 within 12 months. I've had clients that triple sales within 12 months. If you go to my website, shinewithesther.com, and go to testimonials, you would find clients, even on my LinkedIn profile, have said, yes, this tool works. So an insurance company agent hired me. She was having retention problems. So it's also good for employees as well. But she needed it for sales as well. And she tripled sales within, she's like, oh my goodness, she became second agent across Canada. She's like, this is unbelievable, this is unreal, right? So it works. It's a game changer in business. Like I said, it increased employee retention as well, because it has to do with understanding human beings and connecting with what most serves them without feeling forced. And it also helps you as well. So now I don't go into sales conversation or discovery call feeling like I want to manipulate. I'm not. I'm offering value. Now the timeline might be different, but my goal is to position and communicate the value to you in a way that helps you move forward. Okay? And sometimes it's a no, and that's okay as entrepreneurs. All right. Any questions so far? Thank you. So it's pronounced Julia. Thank you so much for correcting me. I appreciate that. So this is what you get as well in the report. You get this slide that you can see. So let's take a practical look at this. If your customer is fast-paced, like the CEO I was dealing with last year, decisive, very competitive. Again, this is kind of a typical CEO profile, male or female, to be honest, that I've worked with. They're very driven. It's about decisions, like they don't have time for rambling. They're very high in taking risk. As long as you can prove to them that they're going to get results. They buy product based on expert reviews. They're very big on reviews and research, quality and result, like I said. So if you have a client or customer or in a discovery call, and you find that this is the kind of customer that you're having, you want to adapt your conversation and your language and your product and your solution to talk about the results. What is this going to do for them, and make it clear to them? Don't talk about the features. Talk about the benefits, the value. Itemize it 1, 2, 3. This is what you're going to get. If you invest this amount within 6 months, the efforts are put in, this is what you should get. Okay. Now, if your customer is like Esther, an I person, which likes to talk, right? Charismatic, loves fun, feeling, people. Then during the conversation, I like talking about family. How is things going, right? Then we talk about, who has experienced this product before, right? There's need for interaction. Let's look at the D's and the C's and the S's. So we have DISCs, right? If you have somebody who is very analytical, if you see my presentation, I talk about numbers. Because if I just came here to say that it works, some people that I see are gonna, where's the proof? Where's the research? Show me the numbers, right? So you want to have facts as well. Credible facts. So Harvard Business Review, we all know that it's established. So I'm not just saying some company and you're like, what company is that, right? So you want to have comparisons, proven ability, product warranties, because they need assurance and trust to be able to invest in your product or solution. Then the S style, the S's are more like I's as well. They're very relaxed. They don't like people pressuring them. They don't like change. They don't like taking risk. So they tend to resist, except they understand. So it takes time for them to buy. So I bet when I offer to you something today, they're not going to buy today, and that's okay. They might take 3 days, and that's okay. As long as it's within the period of the offer, that's okay, right? They're not spontaneous. So when you understand all of this, it helps you go, oh, so how many profits have I been leaving on the table because I'm using a different approach, or I've not adapted my own style? I'm going to take a pause here and listen to your questions. What practical scenarios are you thinking right now based on what you've learned so far? What questions do you have? Please post them in the chat. I would love to hear. So Karen says, I am an SI. Okay. Liz, I'm an S. Okay. So the question now is, how is, when you talk about your sales approach, have you been taking this into consideration, or are you finding, Jenna, I see your hand raised.
I was just going to say, like, I generally do group sales and I present a whole presentation. Some of you might have seen it. And I don't take time to ask questions. I was just thinking about like all these different customers might be in the group. And so if I set up my presentation where I can be like, oh, what are you hearing that works for you? And then also say, does anybody have any questions? Like at certain times in the presentation, then I could maybe attack more of these customer buying styles.
Okay, thank you for sharing that. That is so necessary. So again, you want to capture the different, because sometimes you don't know what percentage is, you're like, I'm not sure, but at least if you have a general approach to capturing DISC, everybody's included, right? So it's a very inclusive tool as well for sales. So I'm not taking a one size fits all. So if I just came here, had fun today without numbers, some people are gonna feel like, what's she talking? Like, there's no proof. Like, who has experienced that before? So that's a very great approach. I got a message. If you have to leave, yes, you will get the recording, and we will send you all the lists, and the team will take care of you. So thank you for joining. I have a question from Elizabeth. How do you go about determining your potential client buying style? So Elizabeth, I must be honest with you, it takes, if you don't know the person's style, it's going to take you a while. But here's what I can say. You can further compress this into people are thinking or feeling. Or my buyer is either an inward processor or an outward processor. So you can't miss either or. So that means that even if I don't understand, let's say Jenna is my client and I'm meeting her for the first time, well, she's either a thinker or a feeler. And so the first few conversations, so for example, I had a coffee chat with a decision maker to offer a team workshop, and I don't know their style, right? So, but because I understood this framework, I went in open, and during the first few minutes, you have to listen and tune in. So that's connection, right? I found that she was very open, but then she was talking about the results. When you talk about results, you know, what result? Okay, I knew that this person is probably a thinker, more decisive. So I'm like, okay, tell me what success will look like for you within 3 months. So can you see what I did? So it's asking the right questions, preparing questions that you can adapt easily. So when I ask what success will look like in your business or with your team within 3 months, I'm looking for results-focused insights. And when she told me, I wrote it down. I'm like, okay, so if you got this with this, would you be willing to invest this? Yep, I will. So it's listening in for the cues for what they're looking. Is it more results, or are they more laid back? Like, doesn't matter. 3 months, maybe 6 months. I don't care. As long as my team is, engaged. So I would say that listening to them, asking the right questions, which is exactly what this tool offers. Okay. So I think I already jumped ahead of myself, pausing and asking questions, which is great, but asking the right questions, Elizabeth, let me know in the chat if that helped. So again, you want to understand what matters to each buying style. So let's take a look at the DISC. So the D-style customer, if you're going into a discovery call, is bottom line for them, like this decision maker. Is Esther, tell me what results I will get, right? And so I defined it for them within 3 months. What is the bottom line strategy? If it's an I style, you want to adapt because they want conversation. So they want something like, tell me more about when your team had a conflict. Tell me more about, so that's conversational. I wouldn't use that approach for a D style. They don't have time for tell me more. No, what results? How is it going to affect my bottom line? All right, we'll close this out. I'm gone, right? But the other person who is more chatty, saying things like, I think my team is struggling with this. So that means they're more conversational. So you can tell them, tell me more about a scenario when your team was struggling. What would it look like if your team struggled? What do you think that would do for your team morale? Again, I'm using my own product or my own service, but I want you to customize this for your own product or solution, right? Karen says, how would you use this framework when you first meet somebody? Again, it is practice, Karen. It comes to practice, but I bet you when you have this assessment, it's over 20 pages. It gives you specific words you can use and structure that helps you prepare for meeting someone for the first time. So again, you're going in with understanding is either thinking or feeling. What do they think? What do they feel? Right? And it's not going to be perfect. But guess what? It's better than going in with a one-size-fits-all approach. For the S style, it's personal selling strategy. So for those people, they want security, and the C is evidence. Tell me the facts. How many percentage of people have actually used this product? Did it change their skin? Did it work for their health? Within how many months? So I think having all of those information for your product or solution is important because, again, you never know what their buying style will look like. Does that make sense? Is that helpful? So this slide is extremely important. You can capture, make sure your product, your solution. When I send emails, I tell my team, I have a copywriter, we capture all of this in our email. So we're speaking to each buying style of our clients in our emails, in one email. But it comes with practice and mastering the art of emotional intelligence in selling. Okay. All right. So as we wrap this up today, I just talked about it is not a one-time thing. Today, you've raised awareness. It is conversation by conversation. You can do a role play with members of the CAN WCC. You can do role play with a colleague, a friend to help you master the art. And I would invite you to consider investing in this tool. It has changed my business. Honestly, when I look at my profits over the past 5 years, this has contributed more than 90% of the profits. I just got a contract last week with this tool. It changes the game. And so what I'm going to do is to close the gap between what you've learned today and again, what you're going to do. Because like I said, if you don't take action, then the profit is not going to come. Then the sales is not going to be bigger. So in the chat, Lisa is going to share with you what I've put together. I've decided to offer the sales profile assessment at a special 7-day offer for all of you showing up for CAN WCC members. Within 7 days, you get 43% off because this month is my birthday month as well. I turned 43. And this is the most generous offer. My assistant was like, what are you doing? I'm like, I know, what am I doing? The max usually offer is 30% off. But this month, I really want as many entrepreneurs, especially women, to understand and stop leaving money on the table. Right now, I moved from working not just with women, but I work with male Caucasian CEOs using this tool with their team as well. So it is a game changer where you discover your selling style, you seek to understand your buyer style, you find common ground, and you create your own action plan. So inside the assessment takes 10 minutes, okay? Let me explain the process. It takes 10 minutes. Immediately you get your assessment report, which is 20 pages. You have an action plan, you have your selling style. It's kind of a book about you, and you go, oh, I never knew this is how I show, right? You can use it in your personal life because it talks about your communication, your leadership, your business. It is a fantastic tool, okay? You also get a chance for a one-time offer for a 30-minute debrief with me. If you want to take a deeper dive into how to apply it in your business. It's not required, it is optional. The assessment itself is self-explanatory. And I bet it's going to be one of the best gifts you give your business this year. Okay, so write in the chat, it has been posted. And as we wrap this up today, I want you to rate the value of your learning experience today. What is your biggest takeaway? What is your biggest takeaway today? What are you going to do differently? I'd love to hear from you.
I think we can also get off the chat and turn on our mics if you like. I mean, I can openly say that I'm going to enter a room kind of thinking about what you said. Is this person a thinker or a feeler? That's really interesting to me because I'm always afraid to approach people. So I'm like, how am I supposed to directly know how to speak with you when we haven't had, this is our first interaction. So that was really interesting for me.
Okay, thank you for sharing. And I see Karen says 9. Thank you for sharing. I've seen this before for leadership, or never in the sales context. Absolutely. Andrea, the importance of emotional intelligence and actively listening. Yep. Thank you, Jenna. Rate this as a 10. Patience in working with B2B sales, with getting my products in their stores. So Marion, this is very good for B2B as well, because again, no matter where you show up, you're showing up with human beings, not with robots, right? So you truly understanding that and understanding how they would connect with the solution is extremely important, very important. And to what Liz said, it's now going into a room differently and understanding that we have different people and they're wired differently and how they receive communication is different. So again, if you want to exponentially increase sales, the special 7-day offer starts today. And all you need is in the link that helps you understand, what to do next. It takes less than 15 minutes. You get the assessment done and your action plan all delivered to your inbox. Now, to wrap this up today, I always say feedback is a gift. And what I would like you to do is to please take 2 minutes, even less than, it's just some emoji kind of feedback on Dots. If you could scan this code, I would love to hear from you. What did you enjoy most? What could we do differently in the future? That's the only way we get to learn and grow, right? And then I would love to hear as well, like your feedback. And after that, you will get a free sample report. So if you think you're not ready yet, my S and C friends, in the next 7 days, hopefully before the 7-day offer ends, you can download this free sample report that we've created, and you can look at what that looks like for you before you decide to buy. So I'm practicalizing sales intelligence for you. So please take 2 minutes and share your thoughts. I sell B2B and B2C, and they are very different. Marion, I totally agree. B2C is different from B2B. I find B2B is more strategic and it's more, you need to truly understand. I find if you understand the decision makers' buying style or how they think, it's very helpful. I don't know what your products or services, but I find B2B is strategic. Andrea, you're welcome. Thank you so much for this opportunity today. I believe that if you put this into practice, you would get your business sales transformed. By this time next year, you want to look back and say, wow, look at how far I've come. That's my goal and vision for you after you've applied all you've learned today. So once again, thank you, CAN WCC, for this opportunity. I really, really appreciate the opportunity to share and to learn from you all. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Esther, so much. And thank you all for joining today for the Profit Edge Sales Intelligence for Women in Business. We hope that you found the insights shared by Esther invaluable. I know for me, I'm definitely entering a room thinking differently, with an open mind, and definitely keeping my ears open and trying to understand who is in the room. And if you're interested in becoming a member of CAN WCC and hosting events like this as well as supporting our advocacy work, I'm pasting the details in the chat for now. Our annual membership is $99, and we do not want financial barriers for your full participation. So we also offer an equity pricing model where you can choose what you pay for your annual membership, anywhere from $1 to pay forward for another member. And just a reminder that we have ongoing events and resources for community and our members. that you're welcome to attend and also bring your friends.